What are signs of depression that aren't talked about? After reading this thread, I guess I'm actually depressed. I have wrote out my whole life and sent it to family. It's a jumble because I have remembered things at different times. I had posted on here but it is almost twice as long. Addiction to distraction. For me it was video games, like the mobile ones and WoW. I literally played WoW on one screen, used BlueStacks to play 2 mobile games on the other 2. I didn't like any of it. I did it because it distracted me from how unhappy I was. I'm a little better now and I don't need to be distracted from misery, so my need to game has greatly diminished. I now only play for fun. The distraction can be anything that lessens the pain you're going through. For me it was games, but it could be anything. Being anxious because things are going too well and surely karma is going to throw something big and bad your way to even out the scales. Memory loss, outbursts of anger, exhaustion. Daydreaming. Lack of hope for the future. Being suicidal is seen as a clear sign of depression, but there are many people with depression who are not suicidal. No one talks about other destructive behaviors such as skin picking or hair pulling. To clarify, these are not forms of self-harm, but I have seen so many examples of people with bad anxiety or depression exhibit these issues. It worries me because so many just brush over these types of behaviors. Maybe if we tried to notice these smaller signs that something is wrong, then it could help prevent waiting until someone is suicidal to actually seek help. The anxiety when you truly feel happy. Every time I slip into a depressive phase and get happy, I become suspicious of myself, and try to figure out why I suddenly feel happy. Sometimes it gets to the point where I will self-sabotage because I don't understand why I'm happy for no reason. The craving of approval. At the end of the day, that craving is not a need. We all want that, but the only approval you need is your own, as long as nobody else is affected. Ask yourself, who are you? If you're feeling down, do not be afraid to confront the bottled up feelings you have. I do not know what you are going through personally. If no one is there for you, your tears hug your face. They are there to comfort you. You always feel better after a good vulnerable moment. Anxiety, feeling slowed down even to the point of barely being able to move, cognitive impairment, loss of pleasure in things, hypersensitivity to interpersonal rejection, and sleep disturbances. REM, dreaming sleep, can be so vivid and pervasive a person can feel not rested when they wake up. My friend, girl, has depression as well. She is kinda my crush. The most beautiful person I've ever seen. Should I text her about her depression? What you think? Empathy. I don't know if this is just me, but I feel zero empathy for anyone that isn't related to me. Busyness. The depressed often fight back by occupying their minds endlessly and appearing tireless in order to keep from facing their depression. They intentionally fill their schedules with no time for reflection or aloneness. I have been guilty of this. A symptom that isn't talked about is pushing the people you care about away. Random swelling/aches from inflammation. People that seem happy. Many people that have dealt with depression for a long time have accepted it and seem happy. Robin Williams. After seeing a lot of it while in the military, tiredness, change of appetite, eating the same meals and usually easy to make meals, less care of clothing, car, room, personal gear, dust collection on certain things, browser history changes, procrastination, message and phone usage drops off, missing annual events as simple as a football playoff game they stop buying, hobby/entertainment things they used to buy, lighting is decreased, facial expressions change when doing certain activities, strange outbursts or conflicts if you move an item of theirs, they won't notice it, unopened mail. The anxiety spiral. It's not that I don't feel joy, it just fades much faster. When I'm not depressed, an evening spent doing something I really love might carry me for a week. When I am depressed I can do the same activities, but shortly after it's just, I guess that was fleeting. Isolating yourself. Being sensitive. Sleeping a lot or not at all. Difficulty concentrating or enjoying tasks that the person previously enjoyed. There's some seriously insightful info in this thread. Thank you to all who contributed, and I truly hope the greatest of improvement of mental, emotional and physical health for all of you in your lives. This one is probably well known, but it was the final symptom that made me admit I needed to get medicinal help, even though I have an irrational fear of prescription meds. Not getting out of bed in the morning. Too often the sweet, dark embrace of total unconsciousness is such a temptation that sometimes I'll wake up at 7 or 5 a.m. for no apparent reason, and just lay in bed until 10, sometimes past 11, listening to YouTube videos with my eyes closed, desperately trying to fall back asleep even though I just had a good night's rest, and logically I know it's not gonna happen. But it's what my body wants for some reason. I finally broke down and had to admit that not only was this behavior not normal, there was no way I could get out of it on my own. At night before bed I'm full of energy and productive, and I think to myself, let's start tomorrow off with a walk or a meditation or even making breakfast, which I could do all of that no problem at night, but for some reason when I wake up the emptiness has filled me. Haven't seen anyone say aches and pains. Bad hygiene. Self-sabotage. When I'm feeling bad or numb I tend to try and subconsciously sabotage my relationships or whatever good is going on in my life because I don't feel I deserve it, and if it ends up going tits up I have an excuse to be a mess. Complete lack of motivation. Maybe it's completely dropping a hobby or procrastinating too much. I personally feel this one a lot. Also loss of faith is probably another big one. Used to be Christian, now I'm agnostic. Don't know if depression did that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Inability to look after your physical self. From regular showers to brushing your teeth, washing your clothes or dishes, cleaning the house and your bed, eating well, the lot. It becomes almost insurmountable. The responses to this post are explaining so many things I thought were coincidental. 99% of these answers apply to me, and now I'm concerned for my own mental health. Risky behaviors. Everyone writes speeding while driving, experimenting with substances, not doing work, etc. as normal, especially if you are a teen or college student, but engaging in risky behaviors or behaviors that will have an impact on your future are sometimes big signs of depression. Losing interest in stuff. Doing what you like obsessively until it seems like you have an addiction, but honestly you don't. Getting angry at the smallest things. Listening to music obsessively to escape reality. We all struggle with our own demons. Don't judge others and fake having a mental disability. Irritability. Memory loss or general mental numbness performing simple everyday tasks. The enjoyment, and consequent self-loathing, of fully doing nothing. It's been great to read through these messages. Being depressed for a long time makes one forget how life used to be without it. These writings remind me of times when I thought that many of these symbols are just how I really am. I think the inability to receive, or believe, good feedback. If someone told me something nice, I would always disregard it or outright deny it. I haven't seen this written yet, so will try to contribute. For me, the most significant thing about all those years being depressed was living inside my head a lot more than outside. All the action was happening inside my mind, where I would have all these thought processes simultaneously. This was perhaps partly because of the therapy process, but also because of the general lack of physical energy. I would be thinking about situations happened in the past, how and why I reacted in a certain way, of some childhood traumas and how they affects my personality, of physical and mental pain I was experiencing in different situations and the fright it caused me, of the depression itself and will I ever overcome it, of life in general and does it have a meaning, etc. I think during all those years, I grew a lot mentally, becoming more and more familiar with myself and my issues. At the same time I was so inactive in the real life because of lack of energy, panic attacks, apathy, and so on, that I missed out on a lot of experiences that people my age were doing. Nothing happened officially in my life for several years, my studies stagnated, I lived in the same apartment, I had no job. And still I grew a lot during that period. After all those years, a period of 5 to 10 years, I got older physically. But still I'm very young psychologically in that sense that I continued my life from the point where I left it all those years ago. People around me have moved on, but I'm still in the same state of life as I was before my depression. To make things even more weird, is the mental state I have. I feel like I sit on so much wisdom in the small field of mental health that I feel sometimes very old. Over the years all these have gotten a little more aligned so I don't appear as weird and funked up anymore, smiley face. TLDR, I look old, appear younger than I am, but sometimes can burst out very dark and deep thoughts that no one expects little naive me to say.